Kennedy started the meeting.
Did she?
According to my teams,
LMAO.
yeah.
Thanks, Kennedy.
Yeah, she said.
Are you talking Dana? I thought you were, sorry.
I would not, yes,
I can call her.
because I'm not supposed to be here, so if you want to do that.
I can call her.
And you're going to explain travel. Well, I'll go up there. What's talking about?
My favorite.
Oh my god. Just go. I called you and made a phone call. Oh, you called me? Yes, I don't know where you were. There. Hello.
I call this meeting to order. Are there any students to speak out this evening? All right, so I see 4 students in the audience. Please state your name, your year, and your major so that we can collect your information if we need to contact you afterwards. And you have 2 minutes to speak out. Our graduate assistant Padilla, will give you like a wave when you have 30 seconds left of your 2 minutes. All right, you can start from the right. Yeah.
I will be presenting with Celine, and we understand we will have 4 minutes combined. My name is Caroline Rude. I'm a junior, double majoring in social work and Spanish beyond tutorial college.
My name is Selena Jazine. I am a social work major, junior.
Okay. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak and to share some research with you all. In the United States, one social welfare problem that continues to prevail is racial discrimination in immigration, specifically as it pertains to the Latinx community. Many immigration deportation and arrestation laws and policies disproportionately target those of this community. For example, according to the Migration Policy Institute, in 2019, the top region of birth of undocumented immigrants living in the United States were Mexico at 48%, followed by El Salvador, Guatemala, India, Honduras, China, and the Philippines. However, despite the increasing percentage of undocumented immigrants of other races, another 2019 report by the United States Government Accountability Office revealed that 59% of all arrests were toward those of Mexican nationality, then followed by Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. India, one of the 3 Asian countries previously mentioned, only occupied the 10th spot.
So on January 9th of this year, Republican Representative Stu of Florida introduced a bill titled Break the Chain Act to Congress. What this representative aims for with introducing this bill was to limit the definition of what constitutes an immediate relative and family-sponsored visas, as well as to lower the cap of the annual family-sponsored visas granted. If passed into law, the Latinx community, as mentioned before, will be targeted greatly. and as future social workers, our goal of sharing this information is to kill the possibility of this bill from possibly going any further and to ensure that other bills similar in motive and structure are also not passed. We aim towards security of the Latinx community and current fair immigration laws. With our advocacy taken further, we believe that we could gain support through organizations with similar missions, such as the National Hispanic Leadership Agenda. This organization of Latinx leaders advocates for providing a clear path towards citizenship, preserving family unity, and humane enforcement of immigration laws. On their online campaign, their mission coincides with the National Association of Social Workers Code of Ethics, preaching that we must respect the dignity of an individual. With the support of similar organizations, we believe that action can be taken to block this bill from being passed into law.
In conclusion, in sharing this information with you all, we want to raise awareness against harmful, discriminatory legislation such as the Break the Chain Act. Although this is a federal bill, it does impact those who live in Ohio, as there is a population of undocumented Latinx immigrants who live even in Athens, Ohio. You can find more information on the posters that we are displaying around campus and Court Street, as well as visit our Instagram page at Break the Bill. Thank you for providing us with time to speak and share research.
Thank you. Anything as well, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Lauren. I'm a social work student.
Hi, I'm Bryson Winter, and I'm also a junior in the social work program. We're here to just talk to you today about a bill that has to do with student mental health. As I'm sure all of you know, mental health is a crucial problem that is facing many students today. There's a bill also known right now, known as HR 822, the Student Mental Helpline Act, and this authorizes grants to support student mental health and safety helplines such as students facing challenges with abuse, depression, bullying, and self-harm with free confidential service that can be accessed to telephones or any other communication platform. Some statistics to help you talk a little bit more about this. COVID, I'm sure all of you know, was a very tough time for all of us for schooling. About 60% during the 2020-2021 school year of college students met the criteria for at least one mental health problem across 373 campuses. In that same school year, 50% of LGBTQ plus students seriously considered committing suicide, and Black students were more likely to commit suicide more than other races and ethnicities. This proposed legislation will help the problem, as it will be a free option for healthcare, for mental health care for many students across the nation. The drawbacks that we can see in this is, of course, it authorizes grants require funds to work effectively, so just getting the funds to support the grants. Looking at this bill, it was introduced to the House Committee on Energy and Commerce on February 2nd, 2023. Our goal is just to have this bill move forward in the Senate and out of the House. And a couple organizations that stand for mental health of students are the NASW and the National Alliance for Mental Health Illness. And they just really advocate for mental health across the nation for many students.
Yeah, so the National Alliance on Mental Illness have some statistics that would support our argument. Some statistics they have included are that mental health conditions can first appear for some youth and young adults, with 50% of conditions beginning by age 14 and 75% by age 24. The age range of 14 to 24 is a very important one because this is where young kids really start to experience changes in their minds and their environment. To ensure that these people get care that they need to better live their life is extremely important. And another statistic they included was that 1 in 6 youth have a mental health condition, but only half receive mental health services. Another thing they note is that delay in treatment will often lead to a worse condition. It would be better if that number was 100% of youth can receive mental health services, but these conditions do not worsen. Students suffering from mental illness is a serious problem, and we believe that this piece of legislation being proposed will address both the causes and consequences of the problem by providing a reliable and free option for students suffering with mental illness to receive the care they need before the problem gets worse to the point where it might be too late to treat. Depression and anxiety are two great examples and are two very important mental illnesses that can drastically change someone's life if not taken seriously. As emerging social workers, we support this legislation as we feel it will have its benefits to better help students with whatever they are struggling with, so that the future is not in danger. Service means service, social justice, dignity and worth of the person, importance of human relationships, integrity and competence are all ethical principles that social workers stand by to provide the best possible care for people struggling. To conclude our testimony, we are hoping that the committee voting on this bill can vote to pass it so that it can move to Senate. And we are also hoping that we have given everyone here a little bit more insight on this bill. We believe will have its benefits for students struggling with mental illness. All we are asking for is for you to hear us and hopefully see this bill as something that has its benefits by possibly giving you advocating for the bill.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other students to speak out tonight? We're going to move on to announcements. Are there any announcements for the body? Yes.
Mr. University's tomorrow. If you guys don't want to buy your tickets, I will be performing representing Senate. Very excited to get to do it. Very nervous as well. Please show up.
Yes. How much money have you raised so far?
I have currently raised $672, which is roughly $300 ahead of person.
Good. Other announcements? All right, well, next up, I don't know if we really need an introduction, but I'm going to do it anyway. We have our amazing president, Dr. Hugh Sherman.
So thank you for inviting me here tonight. I appreciate it. So I just was going to take just a couple minutes. So the first thing I'd like to say is, just to reflect back over these past 2 years. 2 years ago, if some of you remember, we really were back in the sense of the campus was open and we had all the activities that were going on the campus. And when we first started in the fall, everybody was really excited. But it was real interesting to see. We started to see some of the long-term impacts of COVID. So it triggered me tonight because we were talking about mental health. So what we saw a year ago from fall was people excited to be back, but because of COVID and so forth, it was taking us time to get back into normal. So, for example, we saw students not being as involved with activities, with intramural sports, with professional organizations. We saw the student senate, and I'm talking about a year ago, that was struggling to find themselves and find their way and find an agenda that they wanted to promote. And so we saw the mental health issues really crop up last year. And we also, starting in the spring, more after January, we started to realize that we had more students on academic probation than ever before. So those were kind of the long-term impacts that we saw that were happening. So immediately starting in the springtime, we realized that, we had to take some actions to help everybody get used to coming back. So we invested in mental health resources, right? And it was real difficult because everybody was struggling in the same way. So even now, we've got several, we've been trying to recruit for additional full-time psychiatrists to be on the premise. So we had to use a lot of remote people, right? Just to provide the services. We hired a lot more academic advisors, student success people to help students to recognize how to get back to the discipline of studying and so forth instead of just being online classes. And so what we've seen this fall is just a dramatic improvement. So number one, we have an outstanding student senate. You all were much more active, had an agenda, helped to promote, programs to improve, the student experience on campus. And then we invested in these resources. So I'm not saying we're there yet, I mean, we still haven't caught up on providing the level of mental health that we want to, but we've seen a dramatic improvement in students feeling like they belong and starting to be active. And I want to thank the Student Senate because I think you did a wonderful job this year. So that was something that I just wanted to share with you. Secondly, I hope that you will see the university has embarked on multiple different investments to enhance the reputation of the university. One of them that you might have heard about is, because of the pandemic and so forth, we weren't making capital investments. So what we've done is we've really speeded up those investments. So we are, undertaking a very aggressive campaign to renovate the residence halls. So Gamfelter was taken offline, so it could be totally redone. That'll come back this summer. We've got several other residence halls that will undergo renovations this summer. And then we have a 600-bed new residence hall that we're in the design stages. So that will be hopefully break ground in like 18 months. So it'll be winter of 24, I guess. And that'll be down on the South Green. So that's one. So we're aggressively going after improving the residence halls. And then secondly, we're making some major investments in terms of the reputation of the university in the areas of research in the engineering school and in the medical school. So engineering, if you've gone down on the West Green, you've seen the new rock building, the Russ Opportunity Center, which is all for research. So we are in the process of hiring 11 to 15 new faculty members with their own labs that they will bring, so that it will increase our research in the engineering fields, from everything from artificial intelligence, robotics. One of the important ones is alternative uses of carbon. So, coal, instead of burning it for fossil fuel, but using it actually for other things such as building supplies and so forth. So that's kind of an important political issue. So there's a lot of interest in us doing that kind of research because it's such an important issue for this, for the Appalachian region. And then the second one is medical. So we have finalized the financing and the design, and we have the builder all picked out for a new research building. That research building also will be out on West Union, and it'll be right next to the new medical school, teaching building. So that building, again, is going to be purely for research. So there's a lot of research that we're building out in, especially in the diabetes area, and some related diseases like obesity and cancer and so forth. So that, again, is another hot issue. Because it's a real epidemic for rural areas in this country. So, we've got a lot of federal and state people that are interested in us pursuing that and helping us to build our research capability. So that will enhance our reputation. So you hopefully are proud of our university, but I'm assuring you that the reputation will be even better. The second thing I want to mention to you is, you've heard me when we had the town hall. Lori Gonzalez will be our next president. I'm really excited about her. I've spent a lot of time with her. One of the things that's important to me in leadership is a person who is genuine, a person who's transparent, a person who understands how to build relationships with people. And I can assure you in this job, that's all you do, right? You have to work with donors, you have to work with government officials, you have to work with faculty, you have to work with staff, you get the pleasure of working with students. But if you're not that kind of person who can relate to people and enjoy being with people, you can't be successful in this particular job. So she's got a wonderful background. She's got a healthcare background, which is important to us at this university. She's a person who I think is going to be a really strong leader. So she starts July 1st, but she and I are working out a transition so that we can get her up to speed in the month of June and allow her time to ask a lot of questions, meet with people, and talk about the big strategic issues of the university. So if you think about this university, it's a really interesting, complex organization to run. You've got about 4,500 employees. You got police force, 24 policemen. I always love that part. Police force. I don't know what to do with it, but it's there. You have, you've got all the residence halls, you've got culinary, you've got all kinds of medical issues, that you have. So it's a $750 million budget, and we have over a couple $1 billion worth of assets. We have a foundation, an endowment the money under management is close to $1 billion. So it's a very interesting and complex organization. So it takes a special person, and I really believe that Lori's that special person. So I think you're going to really enjoy her if you get the chance to meet her, as she comes this summer and stays next year. The last thing, the third thing I just want to mention, I was asked about any kind of leadership advice, and you all are experiencing that and participating in the roles that you do. For me, the pandemic has emphasized a couple things. Number one is I believe very seriously, even more, I always believed it before, but the pandemic's even emphasized it more. And that is the importance of relationships. I mean, it all comes down to relationships. When you're talking about managing big groups of people, they will never be 100% with you, right? We all have different perspectives. We all think differently with different experiences. We've got different goals. So, conflict is normal. And, so building the relationships of trust and integrity so that you can get past the disagreements you have, you just have to do it because you're never going to have 100%, right? So here's what I said to the board when we were before we started looking for the new president. I told them that, my belief for the presidency job, I'd say 35, so I'm saying if I split the job into the three most important characteristics. The first one is competence, which is obvious, right? You got to understand higher education. You got to understand the mission of the university. You got to understand strategy and competition because you're competing with other universities. You're competing, when you go to donors, you're trying to, in a sense, you're still competing, right? Because you're giving them a vision of why they should give you their treasure to invest in what you think is important, right? So if you have to be able to, to communicate to them the value of making an investment in Ohio University and the students for scholarships, for example, how you can transform a life. So you got to make those arguments, right? So you have to understand all of that. So competence is, they're only 35%. The second one I argue is it's character, right? So character is I believe that the person who does a job that runs an organization, especially one that has a public mission, they've got to believe in it, right? And it's kind of fun to be associated with it because it's bigger than yourself, right? I'm not doing it. I would suggest anybody who does the job shouldn't be doing it for their own benefit, right? I don't care about what the income is or what the prestige is. I just didn't want to obtain a certain office. It's because I believed in what it can do. I believe in the public mission of a public university. So character is also that integrity issue, right? It's that honesty and integrity. It's self-awareness. So it's the ability to question yourself to make sure that you're thinking properly about, different issues. So you're aware enough about what your weaknesses are. You try to bring in people that have other strengths that can compensate for what you do. Like I like to have serious discussions about, a particular issue and have people that are passionate about their point of view, right? Because it helps you to form a better idea of what you want. But character is really important. You've got to have values that you believe in. And when you make decisions, you've got to come back to those values, right? You've got to be consistent with the values that you develop about what you think is important and how you want to, what kind of person you want to be. So the competence, the character, and the last one, you'll never guess what I would say now. Okay, so maybe I wouldn't have said it 5 years ago, but I say it now. The third one is courage. So, what I found is, right, especially if you are like a general manager or CEO or president of an organization, you're the final person who makes the choice. I mean, I'm signing the documents that invest, $100 million in some capital project, or you name it. you name it. You know, that signs the contracts for, you know, I don't care, the football coach, you know, whatever it is. I mean, you're the ultimate person. And so you gotta, you know, after all the discussion and is done, you've got to make the decision of what you think is best for the organization. You have to have the courage to make the decision and be positive about it, because if you're really unsure, everybody's going to pick it up that you're unsure. I mean, you still have to check yourself, right? Because if I make a mistake, I got to correct the decision. But you got to have the courage to explain why you're doing it. We're going this way. And then if you make a mistake, you have to own it, right? And, you know, it's my father actually taught me that lesson. But way back in my corporate career, I had invested a lot of money in strangely, so I was in the watch and clock business. So I invested in manufacturing wooden clocks. So like grandfather clocks, mantle clocks, right? And wall clocks, but really expensive. Like, you know, reproductions of early colonial grandfather clocks and stuff that would sell for $15,000, $20,000, $25,000. And I'm talking about 25 years ago. So anyway, I invested in manufacturing it. So I had to get all these people, you know, that knew that type of work, right? Which is highly labor intensive, because you got to cut the wood properly. The most important is the sanding. And then there's like 5 different steps of varnishing and putting lacquer on it and everything. So anyway, I invested hundreds of thousands of dollars, a couple million probably. And at the end of 2 years, I realized we were never going to be competitive. So I couldn't, because we were located in Pennsylvania, we couldn't compete with North Carolina or up in northern Michigan. And because they had the scale and scope, and they also had a lot of the skilled workers up there. And I had to track people to come to Pennsylvania. So I realized it was a disaster, right? Because I just wasted the company's couple $1 million. So I went into the president, I brought in a consultant. I told the consultant to be honest, because I wanted him to really go through it. So he was going to be there with me when I went to the president. I said, look, you know, I made a mistake. This was wrong. This is what went wrong. And here's the consultant who will tell you that. And then I said to the president, and if you want me to resign, I'll resign. And you know what he answered, right? He just shook his head and said, I won't say what the swear word was, but he said, you know, I've already invested several $1 million in your growth of your knowledge, so I'm not going to fire you now. Just get out. So, you know, but what could he say, right? Because you admitted it, you owned it. You said, look, I made a mistake. Here's what I thought was going to happen. We didn't do it. And, you know, you do it. You move on. So I strongly suggest it's a great strategy. You know, because you sit in a meeting and you see lots of people saying it wasn't their fault. And, you know, if you stand up and have the courage to say, this is a mistake, this is why it was wrong, this is how we can correct it in the future. You will go far, I promise. So that's it. So if you remember nothing what I'm saying, relationships most important. Right? I mean, it's really the one-on-one to get things done. You can't do it otherwise.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's been a real pleasure. So I wish you all the best in this last 2.5 weeks. Enjoy it, and hopefully the weather stays like this for the last of the year.
Yeah. If you have a few minutes
Sure.
to take maybe a few questions from the body, if there's any questions tonight.
How many of you graduated? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you for taking the time to come present to us and for all the work that you're doing with the university. I didn't realize the extent of it, and I really appreciate hearing what you're working towards, so thank you. I did have a question regarding Ohio University's move to try and offer their study abroad programs to third-party providers instead of maintaining the ones that we have now. I'm in the department, it's one of my majors, and I recently found out that the study abroad program that I attended last December will no longer be permitted or allowed at the university to continue. And same with a study abroad program that I attended last summer to Toledo, Spain, is also anticipated to be canceled right out for opportunity. So I just wanted to kind of get your perspective, or if you happen to know why that might be happening.
I don't. I'd have to check on the individual programs. So I know of a lot of programs, so they're still being done by faculty members, right? So you know, we always, I mean, in my experience, we've always given the preference to faculty members who want to do it, right? So, you know, it's, you know, the faculty member has to enjoy taking students overseas and doing it because they don't really make any money for it. So I don't know if, you know, if a faculty member said that they didn't want to do it anymore or what happened. But there's no general policy to do away with programs for the third parties.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, we, you know, faculty members who want to do it and come up and create, because they're still doing that. You know, they say, I've got a special connection, you know, I know of one that's in, you know, it doesn't matter, but anyone that they just created, instead of China, I think they're going to Japan. Yeah, that is faculty.
Yeah, so might be an interesting question for you. If you could have spent 100% of your time at this university focusing on fixing one issue, what would that be?
Well, when I took the job, you know, the board of trustees wanted me to fix the finance problem. They wanted to understand where we stood. And they felt like they weren't getting an answer. So that really was, you know, there was a real clear agenda from their standpoint. So it wasn't very exciting. But the fun part about it was when I got my arms around it, it was a lot better than I thought it was. So that was really important. So like I said, what we found was, you know, the university's been financially well managed in the past. And so there was a lot of reserves to pay for deferred maintenance, for example. So they were talking about how things that, you know, were bad because we had the decline in enrollment back a couple of years ago. But really, even with that decline, I mean, we had to make adjustments because of the decline. But even with that, the financial balance sheet was really excellent. So it was really funny because I went to the board and said, hey, you know, I got good news. You know, the balance sheet's really good. And they didn't believe me. They said, well, you know, where's the auditor? You know, where's Price Waterhouse? Where's somebody who can, you know, I said, I'm telling you, I've got a finance background, you know, and so the university has always had, you know, so Standard & Poor's and Moody's, you know, ranks all universities and business organizations. And in the state of Ohio, there's 14 public universities. OSU always has the top financial rating because they're so intertwined with the state of Ohio. And then who's second? There's three of us all tied for second in the highest rating, financial rating of our balance sheets. So Cincinnati, Miami, OU. So we never lost that. Through all the, you know, the pandemic and the loss of enrollments and so forth, we kept our, you know, our financial soundness. So that was their focus. That was the easy part, you know, because it was there. We never lost it.
Does admitting that you screwed up to your superiors or the people that look up to you, does that ever get easier?
It was never easy. You know, like when I went to the president, you know, and part of me was really serious, right? Because I was really disappointed. I really tried everything I could do to make that manufacturing operation successful. But I realized that I wasn't going to just say incremental it to death or say, give me some more money, we can make it work in 2 more years. I realized that the best thing, you know, when I got my hands on it, I mean, after I kept thinking about it, take the damn loss and cut the losses. So, but I, you know, what I think is you'll find is people will really respect your work. Because, so, you know, lots of people blame other people. You know, it wasn't my fault. You know, and so, you know, you take responsibility. That executives, you know, people in upper levels, they want to see people who solve problems, who take responsibility. Right? Everybody can have excuses. Yeah. Good question.
Any other questions? All right, well, thank you so much, President.
Thank you.
Chief of Staff, please call.
Holders,
Present.
Vice President Cooley, Treasurer Robinson, Commissioner DeMonte,
Present.
Senator Handel, Senator Charbonnet, Senator Phelps, Senator Thomas, Commissioner Gardner,
Present.
Commissioner
Commissioner Hicks. Commissioner Gordillo. Senator Lopez.
Proxy.
Senator Bacasio.
Present.
Senator Rocco. Commissioner Parker.
Present.
Senator Morris.
Present.
Senator Irinder.
Present.
Commissioner Zarbon.
Present.
Senator Robinson. Senator Tandon. Senator Farmer.
Present.
Senator Davis.
Present.
Commissioner Handle.
Present.
Senator Center Smith. Senator Huntsman.
Present.
Commissioner Ajay.
Present.
Executive Justice Silas.
Present.
We have four.
Thank you. You could have Senator Phelps.
Got Senator Phelps and Senator Wolf.
Senator Wolf has proxy.
Oh, I apologize. I thought the truth was seen.
Sorry.
We do still have four though.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Is there any discussion on the previous meeting minutes? Is there any objections to approving the previous meeting minutes? All right, meetings are approved. We have no old business, additions. All right, so first we have to vote. It will be adding Senate Resolution, Senate Bill 2223-05, a bill to support academic wellness-based policies to the floor. Is there any discussion on the bill first? All right, moved in second to vote on adding Senate Bill 2223-05 to the agenda for tonight. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? All right, it's been added to our agenda. Yes, actually, that's a good thing. All right, no old business tonight. All right, new business. First up, we have, yes, it's okay, thank you. Senate Resolution 2223-130. 130? Y'all, that's crazy. I've got all of them. A resolution to appoint a senator of accessibility and accommodation to the Minority Affairs Commission. Whereas there is a student senate at Ohio University, and whereas the rules and procedures state that there shall be a senator of accessibility and accommodation within the Minority Affairs Commission. And whereas there is currently a vacancy in the accessibility and accommodation senator role, and whereas applications were solicited and interviews conducted, be it resolved that Reese Morris be appointed as a senator of accessibility and accommodation for the 2022-2023 academic year, and be it further resolved that this appointment be effective immediately following the adjournment of this meeting. Primary sponsor makes Daniel Padilla.
Yeah, Reese is obviously very passionate about this role. I mean, he was the one that got it into the rules and procedures, and I feel he will be able to flourish in it in the last couple weeks in his position. So, yeah, I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Secondary sponsor, Ms. Amy Shoulders. I echo everything that Graduate Assistant Padilla has said. I'm very excited that Senator Morris has been able to advocate for something that he strongly believes in, and I'm really excited about the transition report that you'll be able to make for the next person to take on this position, and to continue a legacy of students, pretty much impacting students. So I reserve the balance of my time. Is there any discussion on this resolution?
Move to vote.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to vote on Senate Resolution 2223-130. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Resolution passes. Next up, we have Senate Resolution 2223-131, a resolution to purchase a plaque for the Bobcat Medal. Whereas the Ohio University Student Senate Rules and Procedures requires there to be a committee on the budget, and whereas the committee on the budget met with quorum to discuss the Ohio University Student Senate budget. And whereas the committee approved the budget below, and so be it resolved that the Ohio University Student Senate confirms the requested budget amount below. Item description, cherry plaque, 10x8, plaque engraving, plate color, green marble. Price, $47.90, for quantity of 1, for a total of $47.90. Shipping is $9.21. Engraving is $40, for a grand total of $97.11. Primary sponsor, Mr. Brady Phelps.
Yeah, so the budget committee met and checked it out, everything looked good. This is for the Bobcat Meadow we talked about before. And upon reviewing of the budget application committee report says that all criteria outlined for approval. And the powers and council.
Thank you. Secondary sponsor, Ms. Lina Cooley.
Vice President Cooley says, the rules and procedures mandates there be an award given to a member of the university community who has demonstrated a great impact on the university community. This award is known as the Bobcat Medal. As a token of appreciation, I hope to get the recipient the medal as a physical reminder of their impact. The medal is a little larger than what we have given out in previous years, but it allows for plenty of space for the text engraving and the Senate logo. It also has the additional element of the green marble appearance, which accompanies the Bobcat sphere. Additionally, the engraving cost is estimated to be quite high. Last year's budget resolution was a total of $27, although we do not know if this is just for the plaque, just for the engraving, or for both. OU Printing Services cannot give us a quote until we have received the plaque and can show them, although I expect it to be comparable to the engraving cost for the member America plaque, and that she reserves that.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on this resolution?
Move to vote.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to vote on Senate Resolution 2223-131. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Resolution passes. Next, we have Senate Resolution 2223-132, a resolution to purchase member of America plaques. Whereas the Ohio University Student Senate Rules and Procedures requires there to be a committee on the budget, and whereas the committee on the budget met with quorum to discuss the Ohio University Student Senate budget, and whereas the committee approved the budget below, and so be it resolved that Ohio University Student Senate confirms the requested budget amount below. Item description, engraved plaques for a price of $5, quantity of 7 for a total of $35, for a grand total of $35. Primary sponsor, Mr. Brady Phelps.
Yeah, so this is just another thing for the Maritime Senior Honor stuff. And the budget committee met and upon reviewing of the budget application committee report says that all criteria outlined for approval with the averages and balances.
Thank you. Secondary sponsor, Ms. Laurel Rogoff.
Yeah, I think it's super important to honor everyone who has done so much for Senate and they're not getting Senate office forever.
Is there any discussion on this resolution?
Move to vote.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to vote on Senate Resolution 2223-132. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Resolution passes. Last, we have our addition, Senate Bill 2223-05, a bill to support an academic wellness days policy. Whereas there is a student senate that serves to represent the students of Ohio University, and whereas there is an academic affairs commission of the student senate, and whereas Chapter 7, Section 6, Subsection A of the Student Senate Rules and Procedures states that the commission shall promote an educational environment that is conducive to the interests of students. And whereas the Academic Affairs Commission sent a survey of academic well-being to all undergraduate students in February of 2023. And whereas the Academic Well-being Survey received over 350 responses, and whereas after review and analysis of each response, it was determined that the majority of students feel that their mental health is holding them back in academics. And whereas these concerns are discussed with the Ohio University administrators, and whereas after conducting these discussions, the Academic Affairs Commission determined that a policy which allows students to take excused absences to improve their well-being should help relieve the mental strain felt by strict attendance policies. And whereas similar accommodations are already offered through the Office of Student Accessibility Services. And whereas a policy which allows students to be excused from attendance penalties without official excuse would not only encourage all students to pace themselves and take care of their mental well-being, but also enforce a more inclusive attendance policy for students with disabilities. And whereas a recent survey acquiring on wellness days policy reports 100% support for the addition of the policy in all courses. And whereas Ohio University students were asked how the policy would affect them, and whereas 35 students responded that the excused absences for wellness days would specifically be beneficial to their overall mental well-being. And whereas several students also noted that the policy would help to erase stigma around taking days off for their mental health concerns, lift the financial burden on visiting a doctor's office to receive medical verification, and make attendance policies more inclusive to students with chronic illnesses. And whereas, when asked how many wellness days per semester do you believe is fair for a regular 16-week 3-credit-hour course, the most common response was 3 days. So be it resolved that Ohio University students support the implementation of wellness days policy, hereinafter referred to as the policy. Be it further resolved, the policy allows wellness days to be used when a student wishes to be absent from a day of classes, whether it's due to mental health, emotional well-being, physical illness, or personal circumstances. Be it further resolved, the policy allows students to have at least 3 excused absences in a course without an accepted excuse or medical documentation as they are currently defined in the university policy. Be it further resolved, the policy does not apply to the employment or the non-academic responsibilities of students. Be it further resolved, the policy is a product of collaboration between student representatives and Ohio University administrators. Be it further resolved, the policy is considered for implementation beginning the 2023-24 academic year. Be it further resolved, this bill be sent to Dr. Hugh Sherman, President Dr. Hugh Sherman, Kathy Paul, Dean of Students, Chad Barnhart, Assistant Dean of Students, Dr. Lynn Reddington, Vice President of Student Affairs, Deborah Brenton, University Registrar, Dr. Elizabeth Sayers, Executive Vice President and Provost, Dr. Katie Hartman, Vice Provost for Faculty Development, Dr. Sarah Wyatt, Faculty Senate Chair, and the Graduate Student Senate. Primary sponsor, Diligent Monk.
All right. So I tried to include as much as I could that I would have said about this legislation within the legislation. So I will just say that many students already choose not to attend class when they face academic burnout. So why should they be penalized any further? Some Ohio University instructors already encourage students to take a couple days off to prioritize mental health. Perhaps a policy which normalizes taking a day of class off throughout the course would actually increase participation as the semester progresses and normalize dealing with mental health struggles in healthier ways. Finally, I will repeat what I wrote in the bill. A wellness days policy would not only encourage all students to pace themselves and take care of their mental health, but also enforce a more inclusive attendance policy for students with varying mental health conditions and disabilities. Not all conditions and illnesses preventing one from attending class should require a visit to a medical professional. And I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Secondary sponsor, Mr. Garrett Dean.
So I would just like to echo everything that Commissioner Duarte said, but as a future educator and current student, I think that it's really important that we prioritize mental health, and I think that this bill is going to definitely help support that. I reserve that.
Thank you. Ms. Catherine.
I support everything said in this bill. I believe that it would help to close the gap between how people treat physical health and mental health, especially since COVID. Physical health has been a huge target. People were told to stay home in order to protect the health of others. Why can't the same be seen for mental health? Sometimes you need to stay home in order to protect the health of yourself. Students prove every day that they're committed to the university. Taking time for oneself should not be seen as something that's punishable. And whether that be for physical reasons, personal circumstance, or just mental well-being, it should not be held against the student for taking some time to take care of himself.
Thank you. Ms. Alex Parker.
Yes, so I want to echo everything that Commissioner Demonte said. When he reached out to me about this bill, to help them get the proper days off without having to show any documentation, I knew that I had to support it. I personally believe that it's not fair for our students. It's not fair for our students not to have these days off. We are a person first before we are students. Things happen, whether there's a mental breakdown, family, or medical emergency. And I know everyone in this room on campus can relate to that, so I just hope to see or I reserve that for
Thank you. Mr. Reese-Morris.
You guys know how much I love accessibility. And I think this is a way of making a relatively physically accessible college a little more accessible for everyone. I think it would be a fantastic thing to do. I know multiple people who have chronic illnesses who continuously have to miss class due to this, and oftentimes are unable to see a doctor due to insurance costs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Overall, I would love to support this bill. I would love to see it implemented. Or sort of box my time.
Thank you. Yes, Lexi,
When Dylan brought this bill up to me, I was super excited because I think that this is starting to kind of get rid of the ableism that occurs in our attendance policies here at Ohio University. And I also think it normalizes taking those days off and giving our students here kind of more opportunities to kind of not have to prove to professors or prove to others that they have a disability, but kind of just, you know, kind of making it normalized, kind of take those days off. So I think it's super incredibly important that us as students and faculty kind of advocate for students, and also, like Reese said, just it's an accessibility issue.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on this bill?
So this is from Vice President Cooley. So she says, this initiative is one that I fully support. You all are already aware of my advocacy for personal days within the Senate body, which many of you have already taken advantage of. Some of you may be aware, and others may not, but I have chronic depression. While it is well managed now, it has not been for most of my life. I did not even know that this was something I could have gotten accommodations for. Before it was well managed, I would find it immensely difficult to get out of bed to go to class. I had the additional stressor of having required attendance policies without any unexcused absences allowed in some classes. Unfortunately, this combined with my depression left me with lackluster attendance, which then impacted my grade, and I was already struggling with being behind on the content. I also did not have the money to be able to go to the psychologist every time my depression was so severe I could not leave my dorm room. So I struggled, and I felt even worse when I finally did go back to class. Implementing these wellness days across all departments would help ensure that all students have a positive experience, and not just a few who have incredibly understanding and flexible faculty members. One of my current professor's general philosophy is that if you show up, you'll know the content. If you don't, you won't, and they aren't going to further penalize you for it. This bill, I believe, is a step in the right direction for all students, and especially disabled students as well.
Any other discussion?
Move to vote.
Just for discussion.
Sorry.
I just have a suggestion. One thing that I would consider adding is making it highly suggested, if not mandatory, for professors to also post whatever is lectured on the day that you're missed on Blackboard and available for people. I know I do all online classes for the accessibility reasons. I just, going to class is not something I really want to do, so I don't. But for the people that want to use these days, and professors who might be upset about this, might be okay that you're not getting the lecture slides, I would add that in here that, and along with not penalizing students, they also need to have access to the lecture slides for the days that they missed.
Yeah, that's actually a policy that I thought of before, even without the wellness days, making sure that students are able to see content whenever they're even not in class, or even if they did attend class. That is, would be a separate policy entirely, I think, because I think there's more problems than just, students not attending class, but even just being able to have access to the content. So that's definitely something that I would want to work on in the future.
Okay, let's try that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just adding the accessibility of the submissions part, because the attendance is the attendance part, but also if you're having a hard time and you're not able to go every day, and then you still have the life to like whatever happens, so you just push yourself again and then you go and attend. So I think this needs also to be connected to the deadline part, but flexible both in advance.
Any other discussion? Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to vote on Senate Bill 2223-05. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Okay, bill passes. All right, committee report.
No, they can hear you perfectly fine.
All right. So, I've got a commission report on Senate Bill 83, that's where I'm gonna start. So last week, I said that I was, going to start moving towards offering a bill of condemnation. So I want to give you guys an update on that, and just an update on what Senate Bill 83 is currently going through. A little history, it was introduced on March 14, 2023. It went to committee on March 21st, 2023, and they have had 2 committee hearings on this bill in the Ohio Senate legislature. Those hearings were on March 22nd and March 29th for the Workforce and Higher Education Committee. There are currently 5 proponents, not including the author, who is Senator Serino. And Senator Serino represents part of Cuyahoga County and Lake County. So if you are a constituent of Senator Serino and you feel strongly about this bill, I encourage you to reach out. There are also 7 co-sponsors within the legislative body itself. It should be important to note that proponents are people who testify at one of the hearings, and co-sponsors are much like the co-sponsors in Student Senate. It is without pretty obvious that there's a huge political divide about the premise of this bill, and therefore, in the interest of my constituents, a bill of condemnation may have to be held off as we have to gather student opinions. I don't want to make a move without shutting down half of my constituents. There is a good chance for an extremely lengthy legislation process ahead. Therefore, we may not have to make a bill until next year's Senate. And for the commissioner for that year, we'll have to make that decision. I would also like to mention I represent both sides, or not both sides, the entirety of the political spectrum. I present Republicans who are currently trying to propose this bill, and I also represent the Democrats who are currently against this bill. So therefore, I need to go directly to students and I need to survey them. Unfortunately, our last GDM is on April 26th. I may not have all that. I may not in 2 weeks have the time to directly find out how the students feel. If that is the case, I will have to put a hold onto this bill until next year, and I will include that in my transition report for whoever the next governmental affairs commissioner is. However, I do urge you, please read this bill yourself. Go to the Ohio Legislature website and type in Senate Bill 83. It will say that it is currently in analysis. There is a huge legislative process going ahead, and according to my own vice commissioner, it's going to have problems in the House of Representatives. He has connections to the House of Representatives in the state of Ohio. There's probably going to be recesses. It's not like it's going to go in and out immediately. Just want to give you guys an update on that. Moreover, moving on to the fire fee, I have received multiple gift cards from various stores here in Athens. These were all donations. I did not use any Senate funds whatsoever for these gift cards. These include $50 from the college bookstore, $50 from Chipotle, $5, so $30 in total, from Wits on Court, and $25 from Buck and Coffee. We'll be sending out a survey very soon so you can gauge student perception. We will include this data, however it sways, into our bill. We will be choosing multiple winners. Each person who wins will have to come to the Senate office and pick up the cards. So if I remember correctly, this was done before too. We can also just talk to Senate about these winners. Thank you. That is the end of my report.
Thank you.
Hi everyone. So we are going to be having the Athens Farmers Market on tomorrow. It's going to be at Tailgate Park. It's from 1 to 4 if anybody's interested in popping by. Really excited about it. I'm really glad we were able to finally put together and connect students with local vendors. some of the menu options for any of those who are interested. We have there's cold Thai drinks, Eastern Thai sausage, Thai garden rice wrapped, veggie spring roll, sticky rice and mango, a coconut waffle, Northern Thai sausage, green papaya salad, Northern Thai large spicy pork salad, curry chicken barbecue, and sticky rice. So for those of you that may be interested in those different options, feel free to come by. It's right across the Convocation Center, and it's right behind the Bingham House. So very excited about that. I also had a tabling session today. We passed out several packets encouraging students to start using alternative transportation. I was pretty happy overall with how receptive students were to learn about these options, and I think giving them this education is critical in ensuring students participate in environmentally friendly habits. I think because of COVID, a lot of students didn't really have access or knowledge about some of these alternative options, and I think trying to get them to understand like the locations, the different routes, the different times is very important. I'll also be having a tabling session on Friday to encourage a few students to take my environmental affairs, or a few more students to take my environmental affairs survey. In the next few weeks, we'll be gearing up towards helping represent Student Senate and Earth Day celebrations, as well as looking to pass a few RMP changes for the last few of the year. That's the end of
Thank you.
Perfect. My report was short for once. We had a great turnout at Take Back the Night last Thursday. We did at the Athena Sigma, and the baker we had it in went over max capacity. So that was really cool. We saw lots of people there. And then even more people joined the march afterwards. I love seeing my commission and all the other Senate members that were able to come all join together for a great cause. And we also had lots of participation in the door/window decorating contest, both in Baker and Uptown. Our commission has a few more things we want to do and wrap up before the end of the year, so I'm very proud of everything we've been able to accomplish so far. Also, leadership awards are next Wednesday, so make sure to RSVP because Andy, Executive Justice Emily, just bought Junie a new dress. So you'll be very cute, and that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Yes, so currently, I have not received a response back from the female candidates, which I am sure about that, but I'm still working on them, but they're older Black people, so they're even worse with answering the emails in general, so that's just, I think that it's a technology issue and everything. But moving forward, that I am going to try to schedule my last final meetings with some of my B&I connections and hopefully talk to them about some of those initiatives that I would like for them to pursue next school year, but also to set up the next commissioner for this role effectively who transition them very well with that.
All right, so I've talked so much to you through legislation today, I'm just going to have a short report. My presentation to university administrators for Friday group on wellness days policy is this Friday. Tabling sessions for academic affairs are tomorrow from 11 to 12:30 and 2 to 4 at the top of Baker. We will be giving out t-shirts from the Advising Center. Please stop by if you can. The squirrels are here. Students love the squirrels. We all love the squirrels. Finals Fest will be on Saturday, April 29th from 4 to 7 p.m. Please show up. We'll get free cookies for you. Senator Handel finished the CPS One Stop, and we have been sharing it with students, and they love it. And she did a very great job on that. And Vice Commissioner Bean is working on an academic grievance form to start using next year. And that is the end of my report.
Thank you.
So my commission report is short as well, as we have the end of the year. I recently attended the diversity audit yesterday, and it was a great discussion to talk about ways we can make our campus more inclusive for minority students. Again, as a commission, we are supporting the accessibility walk on the 23rd. If you want the information to participate, please reach out. I am proud of everything that we have done this year as a commission, and I will mention that in my transition report, which is almost done. Lastly, I would like to congratulate Senator Morris again for his seat and accessibility, and I'm going to great things, and I want to say thank you to those who did yesterday.
I had a meeting on Monday with housing and and we kind of wanted to focus on RA training, and the topics that we talked about were like safety within the residence halls, rooming conflicts, and accessibility. So we kind of like ran over how that's gone with us and how it will go next year, and then we also discussed making sure that responsibility is split among RAs and that they don't have to pick up work for other people, and that also that they're held accountable for upholding the protocol. And then another main thing we talked about is the relationship between housing and facilities and the need for the students and RA's concerns with facilities to be quickly resolved and for housing to give us additional assistance if it's needed. We're just kind of trying to transition into next year before we're
Thank you. Patterson, do you have a report? Okay. Senate committee report.
I have two from Vice President Foley. So for the Bobcat Middle Committee, she says, thank you so much for passing the resolution and purchase the plaque. I really appreciate it, and I know the recipient will as well. Just a reminder that the Bobcat Medal nomination form is open until Wednesday, April 19th at 5 p.m. So please nominate anyone who you feel has made a significant contribution to the Ohio University community, whether they be faculty, staff, administrator, student, or otherwise, and the link to the nomination form will be included in the minute. And then for Leadership Development Committee, just giving a quick reminder about our Leadership Development Training on Friday at 2 p.m. in Bolton Hall 235. So please be there if you don't have work or class, and those will be in.
Thank you. All right. Any other Senate committee reports? Okay, on to your university committee report. I have one. Okay, so I got to meet with our SHIP committee, which is our student health insurance committee. So these are the notes. So Philip Arrington and Chris Minhey from Horan Campus Health Solutions were hired to come and consult to help us negotiate our student healthcare renewal, our student healthcare annual rates for the next year. And this was really important for students who are using our health insurance plan because with their help, they were able to find that our student healthcare facilities like Hudson were being fined under regular healthcare facilities like fees. However, student healthcare is charged at a much lower rate. So therefore it saved the school $400,000. So that was actually really awesome so that we can keep our rates low for students to have good health care. And you can also thank our Graduate Student Senate because they have a really high interest in student health care programs on campus. And so they really were able to take the lead in saying that, no, this rate needs to stay low. And in hiring Horan Campus Health Solutions, we were able to do that. So the current annual rate is $2,000, $2,825. And the initial rate that United Healthcare was going to charge us was going to be a 21.7 increase, which would have been $3,437. But with the help of Huron, we have a revised renewal for only a 9.7% increase at $3,098. So that's really amazing. Also, other competitors besides United Healthcare would be Anthem, Wellfleet, and Aetna, which are other insurance companies. And Anthem would have had a $3,078, sorry, tonight, y'all, which would have been a 9% change for insurance for students. And there was going to be an increase, but it was just about how much it was going to increase. So from taking it to 21.7% to 9% is a really great thing. So there's talk about possibly changing to another insurance company in the future, but that would not be a decision that would be able to be made right now. That would have to be put into an RFP process because we are a public institution. for new coverage, so we could possibly move to a different provider if that was something that our school would want to do. And this committee, the SHIP committee, would be a part of some of those conversations going forward. So our president-elect has that beautiful opportunity ahead of her. So that's the end of that report. So that's it.
The University Curriculum Council actually met last week, but I'm reporting it this week instead of last week, so a little late there. The University Curriculum Council, before it began, they had a long discussion about ChatGPT. They were very concerned about it. They did not like it. But the faculty senate passed a resolution to have a program change for the fall 2023 where the College of Arts and Sciences will require ET 2100, which teaches Python coding. Don't know anything about that, but the sports administration program also made some minor changes to the credit hours of some of the requirements. Rusk College of Engineering has added chemical engineering, and they've also Patton College of Education replaced Rec 6170 with Rec 6020, big change there, as one of the core requirements of the curriculum. They also added REC 6920 as a course requirement for students completing a professional project to fulfill the capstone requirement for that degree. Thank you. I reserve the balance of my time.
I don't know if this counts as a university committee, but it's becoming one, and I forgot to put it in my commission report. So the RFP, the bidding process for period products is closed. So we got 4 bids on the project, which is very cool. So we just got the email yesterday with their responses. So now we're going through the initial review process. So we'll go through and rate them based on their dispensers, their products, timeliness, cost, all of those fun factors that will help us choose which one. And then we are meeting on the 26th, and that will be Carly, Leatherwood, myself, Letitia, Steve, Matt, and Kathy to go over our first review and then set up a meeting to choose our final vendor for stuff to be hopefully installed this summer. And that's the end of that report.
Good things happening. My report. Hi everyone, short report tonight. So first I wanted to echo everything that President Sherman said, that relationships are the most important. So please take the time to thank someone who has helped support your leadership journey this past year with all the amazing things that you all have done this year. Please attend the leadership awards and training this upcoming week as it's been said before. And I'll save all my additional thoughts about moving to the next chapter of not only my life, but of Senate and how the next leadership team will do and all that transition stuff to our last meeting. So we can save some time today, but thank you all. Please enjoy the weather.
Oh, okay, no, it's changed slide, sorry. Okay, so, Levina says, hi everyone, I have a really short report tonight. I hope you all remember to take some breaks when you can in the next few weeks. Just another quick reminder that the Leadership Gala is next Wednesday, the 19th, and I hope to see you there. Finally, commissioners, remember to keep working on your transition reports. If you have any availability, I am also sure the future commissioners may appreciate the opportunity to get to know you all in person as well. And that is the end of the report.
I just have Trinity's report, and she just wanted me to remind everyone that semesterly funding is April 14th. I'm about to read the numbers. I'm gonna try my best. Don't know if this is gonna go great, but we're gonna try. Okay, so for the Senate total, we have $27,406.94. Allocated not spent, we have $1,320.89. Not allocated nor spent, $26,086.05. SAC total is $133,939.34. Spot is $133,919.34, and the U Fund is still strong at $20. And these numbers are true and accurate to the best of Treasurer Robinson's knowledge. And that is the end of her report.
All right, hello, everybody. One of the last times you have to hear me say it, but clock your office hours, send me your reports by midnight, and keep the office clean. I cannot wait to see you all at the retreat on Saturday. Our lovely Director of Community Social Activities, Trinity, who is sitting back there, and Treasurer Robinson have worked so hard on it, and I know everybody is going to have fun. So excited to see you all there. Please don't forget to fill out our historian's form asking for your testimony for the archives. We want to have your experiences immortalized forever. So please respond to that no matter how long you've been in Senate. The link will be included in the minutes. And then additionally, if you have any pictures from elections, tabling, any events like that, please send them in the Senate Archive channel in the Slack so that those can also be included. And then finally, the Student Research Expo is tomorrow. So good luck to everybody who is presenting. I know I will be there, so if you were there, come find me. I'll chat about my research. It's so fun. But yeah, also don't forget to go to the Farmers Market at Celebrate Park tomorrow. And with that, that is the end of my report.
All right, hi everyone. Another little shameless plug. Miss University tomorrow, 7 p.m. shoot over. Ronald McDonald House. Looks awesome if you donate. Let's help Reese win Mr. Popularity. I mean, come on, that'd be pretty cool. As always, reach out to me for things to be posted, and be safe this weekend if you do decide to participate in the weekend activities. And that's the end of our report.
Oh yeah, it's me. Second to last JP report from me. Okay, first things first. Elections are finished, as I hope all of you know. If not, are you living under a rock? But in all seriousness, congrats to the winners. On an important note, if you still have RMP changes to be presented, please submit those to JP's email by this Friday. Let me know, like tonight, if you need me to help you. You guys have until Friday, so you have me for 2 days to help with that. And then lastly, let's slay the rest of the semester, and that's the end of my report.
All right, everybody, it's our first time body since the election, so I'm going to jump in and say congratulations to our winners, but also to everybody who put themselves out there, everybody who got written in. I hope you accept your write-in opportunity. It's a really exciting to see, A, how many people voted in the election, B, how many people ran for offices. So that's a big shift and change, and I know it's because of this body, so very excited about that. Just to tag on to the Leadership Awards invite from your president, there are many members in this space who will be honored at the Leadership Awards. So I really hope to see you all there and to celebrate the members of this body and other student leaders on our campus. 2 other kind of reminders. It is Pie Fest this weekend. So if you choose to partake, please make good choices. Look out for each other and have fun. But keep those first 2 things in mind so you can have fun. And then lastly, we're getting to the end here, folks. And I know that people are stressed, and academics are important. That's why we're all here. I was talking to our friends in the Academic Achievement Center, and you can still get academic coaching. So if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, how am I going to make it to the end of the semester? How am I going to make sure I'm studying and ready for all that's ahead? You can go into the Academic Achievement Center, all on the 2nd floor. And there's still opportunities for that academic coaching. So I encourage you to consider that and to do it. And with that, that's it.
Before I get into my report, Chad said, I hope the meeting is slaying, so in case you want to know. And then he sent a gift that says, say I slay, so I slay. Anyway, not much for me. I just want to let y'all know if you don't see me during my office hours for the next couple days, in the next 2 weeks, it's because I am doing interviews with the next set of Senate executives-elect, so keep that in mind. I might be running around to the library to do an interview and running back to the office. But as always, take care of yourself. Please be safe this weekend. I would like to not see you in the conduct office, so please don't be there. But be safe in all your festivities, and as always, let me know if y'all need any help. And that's the end of my report. Yeah, we're not adjourning yet. Y'all can stop packing up, please. Thank you.
Or maybe be like our high school teachers. All right. Are there any objections to adjournment? Meeting adjourned.
No.
That did happen. That was terrible.